Ugh, this shirt. What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and how you feeling? You ready to chat it up? You know this is one of my favorite times. The moon's in Gemini, and I'm a little partial just because my moon's here. But I do enjoy. I think the when the moon's in Gemini, this is really a great time to really observe how quickly the emotions can change. And what do you think about the flow? Because Gemini, you know what, we'll get into that all in a minute, because I'll talk about it all here. But before we get into that, if you're new here, again, my name is Justin, and know that when you're coming across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. But this is also a place for if you happen to have Cancer in your placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, maybe Mercury, wherever. This one's for you. Or if you just want to just sync up with the moon, we all benefit from that. And we all got Cancer somewhere in our chart, so bam. And I do tarot card spreads based on that lovely luminary, the good old moon. I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, what she's going for. Of course, there's all them lunar shenanigans. I feel like she needs a little more love that day, or today, and every day. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, I always start off with that hand. Let's jump into it, because as you see, we just got a lot of thoughts today. And this is appropriate considering the day that it is, and I'm going to shuffle for your general energy of the day while I'm doing this. But depending on when you're watching this, happy Mercury Day. Mercury is associated with Thursdays. Spirit, with Wednesdays, and I find that Mercury days are a really great day for just on a basic level, just for communication. Maybe you want to get caught up with some friends, maybe get caught up with some family, maybe get caught up with the neighbors, whatever that is. You just happen to be walking around. Just a great day to even just like exchange information, whether that's just like taking some extra time and listening to a real juicy podcast, or get yourself a good hour one, or maybe even listening to just like different YouTube things, or maybe even just learning some type of stuff, or maybe you have some like studying that you could need to get done, or maybe you have an interview that needs to be done, doing it during the Mercury day, or even trying to plan stuff around like Mercury hours. Just kind of play around with the stuff. It's really fascinating when you get into these things. I'm starting to get more into that sort of like planetary magic and things, so that's really exciting. But some other things that I like to think, or that I like doing as well when we're on these sort of days, is think about my relationship with Mercury. Like, how do you do during like Mercury transits? What are those? What kind of themes pop up for you? How do you experience those? How do you really experience a Mercury retrograde? I know that there are the kind of general terms when you think about it, just like, oh my gosh, but really Mercury retrogrades are a time of just kind of introspection, of just like we're reflecting over past things that are happening. Do you have Mercury retrograde in your chart? I actually know a few. When I have a friend who both of their kids have Mercury retrograde, and so it's just like, how does that affect you? Compared to others, do you feel like things are normal and kind of on a flow when Mercury is retrograde? I will say I find myself like I have Saturn retrograde, and there are times where a Saturn retrograde can feel kind of heavy, but it's like you're kind of used to that anyway. But you do, I think I get more things done then. Like, I'm able to kind of push through. It's a very interesting thing to kind of observe there. So, and just think about too, like, again, your Mercury placement. What house do you have Mercury in? What sign do you have Mercury in? Just kind of those general questions, and just think just different ways of just like working with the planets without being so overwhelmed by them. Sometimes you just need to take just a day to just think about just one. But enough about Mercury. Let's get into the lunar shenanigans. Because on the 5th of February at about 10:44 p.m., and that's going to be Pacific time, the moon is going to be entering into Gemini, and we're in that waxing gibbous phase. And the light is building in the waxing gibbous. We've taken action from that first quarter in Taurus. And so now we're in like the adjustment period. It's like, all right, we're getting a groove for things. And I think for Gemini, that's a great time to be getting a groove, to be like, okay, like maybe I don't need to invest here, let me pivot to this thing. Gemini is good from going from place to place to place to place, and you're just like, oh, let me put a bookmark here. As a Gemini moon, like, I've realized growing up how much I leaned into my moon, kind of my moon and my rising rising sign. My sun really kind of started showing through a little bit later. But when you think about just the moon in Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so Mercury is again this. If you just consider like the sun and the moon as luminaries, Mercury is the fastest planet. And so there is a quickness that comes with Gemini already, having Mercury as their ruler, that ruler of communication, thinking, knowledge, reasoning, understanding. But then you throw that mutable aspect of them, so there's a flexibility that they have. There's an adaptability. The air is free flowing, it's thinking, it's communicating, and it's masculine, so it's very active. Gemini is one that I think as a sign in general can learn teach as quick as it learns. I'm talking with someone right now. Their daughter's a Gemini sun. I mean, just quick as a whip. It knows what she's talking about. You know, as far as like it's amazing how fast that energy can, sun, moon, rising, wherever can pick up on that stuff. So that's why I say I think the moon in Gemini is a really great time for separating separating the concepts of thinking and feeling. Noticing when you're feeling a certain way, why am I thinking? Getting curious about that. That's what Gemini, I think, does best of all of the signs, is to be able to ask why and to go down those kind of rabbit holes and to be able to do it quickly. Like, okay, do this, I felt that, and then when the mood changes, it's just like, okay, we're feeling that now, perfect. Okay, let's do, yeah, I was done with that too anyway. And so I think that this can be a time to not just understand, but even get a little playful with the feelings. Understand how maybe irrational they can be sometimes, or how wild it can be. But knowing that, I think when you start to tune in more and more, how you do begin to see a rhythm even in the chaos, I think could be something kind of fascinating. I find that when I watch I have this app that has this little widget that lets me know just like what lunar transits are coming up, because I follow the other ones on a different one. But it's really fascinating to watch the lunar aspects and think about that, how I'm feeling about a certain thing when certain stuff's coming up. It's really cool to observe and take some time, when you're observing the moon, to see those trends. You work over cycles and things, so just a number of things to think about when we're working with this moon in Gemini. And if this is something where maybe you're like myself, have your lunar return here, or you just want to learn how to work with your moon placement in general, or see with moon transits, just other planetary transits, down in the description box below is a link for all the services that I provide. So definitely check that out if that's something that resonates with you. But let's go ahead and switch over. And then last couple things here. These readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. I hope you enjoyed these little hand signs. I was thinking about how animated I talk with them. But last thing, I'm just going to ring this bell to bring in some good vibes here. So adjust your volume if you need to, but let's give this a few rings and get into this thing. All right, let's see what's going on today. Ooh, interesting. Ooh, we might have to take it a little slow today. But you got the Knight of Pentacles here. And, when I'm thinking about the Knight of Pentacles, this knight in particular is very methodical about how he goes about things. And I think that there is something here about maybe getting grounded in a process that's going on here. Do you have something that you're working on right now? Something that maybe requires that it's not laborious work, but something that requires you to keep showing up each day. This could be maybe tending to a plant. This could be learning an instrument. This could be learning a language. Maybe this is learning how to build things. Maybe you're learning how to do plumbing. But there's something here about maybe needing some type of task, something that you're looking forward to each day here. But I'm also even getting here like a small anxiety. And maybe just because this Gemini energy might be here in this kind of earthly figure. But there's something about whether maybe something is going to come to completion. Maybe you're thinking about maybe you got some sort of plan. Maybe you're trying to figure out how to get a vacation to come together, or maybe you're trying to think about how to ask a certain person out on a date, or if a certain thing that you submitted is going to be accepted, or if it's going to be whatever this might be looking like. Whatever it is that you may be waiting for, there's something here about maybe even finding some ways to keep busy if the mind is feeling really overactive, because I think that's something that Gemini benefits from. Not necessarily doing things like just sitting in meditation, like, because if the mind does too much, if you can't do that, then there are other ways of getting in that sense of flow. This could be Gemini working with your hands, maybe working with material things, doing some type of sewing, something that gets you just more in the body, maybe in the present moment, if that's something that's resonating with you here. But let's get some tarot on this and get some details with this thing. Interesting. Thanks, Spirit. So you got the Queen of Swords here, and this Queen of Swords, I'm getting a lack of clarity from her. Something isn't maybe like it's not something that's not being understood as far as like where maybe a direction is going, and this need to be patient here is getting maybe even a little annoying, or I'm even getting something here about even like maybe the Queen, like almost like maybe settling on something not going right, assuming maybe the worst for something, so why even put the time in? That's another thing that's kind of coming through there with her. But it's like she's reflecting on maybe where she's going, or even maybe where she's been. Let's get a clarifier with that. Interesting. Thanks, Spirit. So you got the Five of Disc here. And if you see here, this is the Lord of Worry. And the Five of Discs can be this sort of like feeling impoverished, feeling that we're not having the things we need in order to make something happen. It's like, and maybe there's something here with that Knight of Pentacles that, I mean, I said maybe wasn't feeling laborious, but maybe there is something here that is, it seems to be taking a lot, and we're not sure how we're going to do it maybe with what you're working with. Possibly it's like how to make this one pentacle turn, like act as five pentacles here. This is kind of what I'm getting there. And maybe this is too, like I'm even getting like maybe a concern about not even being able to, maybe worried about asking for some kind of help here. It's almost like the Queen of Swords is kind of like, it's almost like you just got to do this on her own, possibly here. But I think that there's some support there. But it may just be like kind of like a tall ask. Like maybe maybe the Queen doesn't want to be seen in a lesser light, possibly here. So that's something else that's kind of coming through there. Let's get some more on this. Interesting. Spirit. So you got the Ace of Cups here. And now the aces are, there's like they're seed cards. They're the roots of whatever element. So this is the root of water. And I'm getting maybe there's this need that if you've been going through some sort of maybe shortage here, or maybe this is even there's something that the Queen of Swords is maybe doubting, or I think it's almost like with the Ace of Cups, it seems that she's maybe being very analytical about it, but is needing to dip into the feelings some. I think it's like getting down to the source of what this. I'm not quite sure how to describe that yet. It's like a hole, or maybe even like this feeling of like powerlessness, maybe, or helplessness, and just feeling like the something about maybe even the Knight of Pentacles feels a little heavy, like not sure, yeah, how to move through this, maybe even faster. That might be something that's coming through here. Let me get a little bit more with this Ace of Cups. This is one of my girls. Got the Princess of Wands here. And I think that there's, I think that there's something here with this princess about it's like when you find yourself maybe with your kind of like your back against the wall and maybe not quite sure which way to go. It's like, okay, let me get out of this moment for a little bit. And it's like this princess is needing to feel alive again. Is maybe needing to feel some sense of inspiration that things can get better. And even like getting herself, like daring herself to maybe dream of that things can get, like things can get better, that things can improve here. And I think that can be difficult when you have earthly matters kind of weighing down on some things. Again, the Knight of Pentacles is one that he wants to see things, he wants to get things through completion, but there's this just like, how am I going to get through this? And I don't know, and there's like almost like an again, that Queen of Swords was like I was getting like an anticipating that things aren't gonna go well, or that, but it just seems like the Princess of Wands, this Ace of Cups, is just like just allowing yourself to hope, even if it's, I think that sometimes just even getting that rush can help break that rut and just like kind of give you just some new fuel. I mean, that's interesting there. Let's get another card on this. Hey, that's what's good. There's our card, Cancer, the Chariot. And I think that in order to move through something, because this is being Cancer's card, I think that in order to move through this thing, to get more, there's something like a new feeling is needing to be had. If you're just, I think if this Queen of Swords is just focusing on the worry, that things that are going to be the disappointment, then that's where she's going to end up. That's the trajectory that she's setting with the Chariot. But even if you have to go slow, because the Knight of Pentacles is considered, he the slowest of the knights, but he's still going to get to where he's going. And there's going to be a moment where maybe he might be kind of slow to the start, but once he gets a groove, then it's enjoyable. Whereas like the Knight of Swords and maybe even like the Knight of Wands can just kind of, everything's just kind of fleeting. It's just like on to the next thing, where the Knight of Pentacles is enjoying the process, is taking in the lessons, like, okay, maybe I was worrying too much, or and then, oh man, I didn't worry enough, or then again, just kind of finding that balance. But let's get a clarifier for the Chariot. Ooh, look at all this water. Thanks, Spirit. So you got the Death card here, Scorpio energy. I really do enjoy this Death card. This is a really nice one. But I think that there is something with the Death card that is, again, something's needing to change. And it might be just maybe this, like, I don't want to say it's like a fatalistic view, but that just like that anticipating that nothing's going to go right. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You know, and especially if you get fixed on that emotion. I think that sense of that disappointment, that worry, that anxiety. It's not to say that those things don't happen. But in Scorpio, when you get stuck with an emotion, that power of Scorpio is that where they can feel an emotion the deepest, they're able to understand the full facet of it and then move from it and get empowered from it. And that's why I think this Princess of Wands, there's this need for maybe like some kind of play or some sort of enjoyment, maybe watching a movie, something that makes you feel good, feel like maybe even putting yourself in like a protagonist's shoes as you're watching that and getting into that space there. You may not necessarily believe it in that moment, but something about that can be very, very powerful. Something very evocative, I think. Something like, Let's get some advice from Mercury. Okay. Thanks, Spirit. So you got the Seven of Cups here. And one thing that the Seven of Cups can bring about this, it can be these options if we feel like we have options. I think that something needs to start with a feeling, with that Ace of Cups. This more than just a thought. And I also am getting a little bit something here with that Seven of Cups about not dragging your feet on maybe making some sort of decision. Maybe you're worried about that. Again, that Queen of Swords can't quite see the vision, so maybe you're afraid to move on something, afraid of the changes that it might bring. But I'd even think in that in that present moment that you got there, that you may enjoy it a little bit more than you thought. But and this is an interesting message. I'm even getting something here about maybe not letting the material affect It's like not letting the material affect the vision or affect the love for something. That just because maybe there's been a slight shift, there's a slight change, that doesn't mean that. And there's a potential here with the Seven of Cups to become distracted. And I think, let me get a clarifier on that one. Spirit. All right, so you got the Queen of Wands here. And let's go ahead and switch back over. Now, the Queen of Wands, she's an interesting one. She's one that she's one that's really moved by her emotions, but not necessarily like quite the Queen of Cups. It's more so because she's the watery part of fire. And I think that it's when she feels something, she goes into action. You know, she's not just in just a receptive quality. It's a different kind of move than how the Queen of Cups does it. But I think there's a need, one, to maybe, there's a kind of a follow your heart energy that I'm getting with her, that maybe you've gotten kind of, maybe something that was doing it for you is just not anymore, wanting to settle on a thing, but I'm almost just getting worried that it's like it's not gonna be enough. That eventually you'll just get. I'm not quite sure what that is yet. Like you may be getting sick of something, but I am getting here too, just like of a following the heart's path. The Queen of Wands is one that I think doesn't. She goes after her dreams. You know, whatever that looks like for her. I think it's just as long as that thing is, it fuels her, it excites her, it's yeah, she's willing to do what it takes. And I think that, yeah, there's something even here about just being mindful of the distraction, something blurring the process here, I think. Especially considering that you got both the let's look in the Princess and the Queen of Wands, and there's even just kind of a, you know, it's a good amount of people showing up here. So there may even be some sort of, hmm. I think this would be a time to, like, just the kind of last thought, like, look into what the element of fire is about, and really feeling that kind of invigoration that the fire element has, and that sense of that needing to express spirit. I'm not, yeah, there's something in there, I think, as well, if you take that as, you know, if that's something that resonates. But I think I'm gonna leave that there. A little something to think about. But if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this if you know somebody who would get some nuggets of wisdom from this. And subscribe to Queen of Wands. Hit that bell button to get notified when I release videos each day. And then last little bit, I'm shuffling your surprise cards here. But if you want to know what's going on with the other celestial bodies, on down in the description box there's a link for my other channel, Alchemist 8, where I do weekly videos every Mercury day or Wednesday, and I talk about the different celestial transits that are going on, and also do these videos about different planets and different signs and different houses. So that's something that I'm in, like, natally. So just some things for you to check out there. But thanks, Spirit. Let's go ahead and get into your surprise card here. Interesting. So you got the Death card here. And so I think this double death here, there is maybe this Queen of Swords has like that has some sort of idea. She's worried about how it's going, but that Princess of Wands wants to follow her heart. She knows that this, whatever this thing is that's calling to her, will change things for you know, it will change things, and whatever that looks like. And it's going to open up different doors and different options with the Queen of Wands to the Seven of Cups here. But something, in order to make a choice, something else needs to die off, or something needs to close here. And I don't, it seems like maybe the Queen of Swords maybe isn't ready for that yet. Maybe that's what this Knight of Pentacles thing's here for. This is maybe needing to get a new job. This can maybe needing to get a new place. This is maybe needing to find a new way to connect with spirit, possibly. Maybe find, oh goodness, a new community. But I also think in this death that there's, I think maybe what the Queen of Swords is maybe thinking is just like, not necessarily what's the point, but what am I going to, what is this gonna mean for me? There's something weighing really heavy on her head. I'm not like, that's something, again, take that, don't force that. Take that if it resonates, but that's just what I'm getting there. So I think I'm gonna leave that there. Little something to meditate on. But until next time, keep eyes on that moon, raising that vibration through the roof, and I will catch you on the next one. So wait, when am I catch you? Oh, Saturn Day.